Well, hello, Michael here, looking at Psalms 42 today, specifically verse 1 through to 3 for the exposition. This psalm, which is subtitled, Why Are You Cast Down, O My Soul? And so let's go ahead and read those 3 verses. Verse 1. As the hart panteth after the water brooks, so panteth my soul after thee, O God. My soul thirsteth for God, for the living God. When shall I come and appear before God? And verse 3. My tears have been my meat day and night, while they continually say unto me, Where is thy God? And so we look to the Treasure of David. It's written by Charles Spurgeon for the exposition. Verse 1. As the hart panteth after the water brooks, so panteth my soul after thee, O God. As after a long drought, the poor fainting hind longs for the streams, or rather, as the hunted hart instinctively seeks after the river, to leave its smoking flanks and to escape the dogs, even so my weary, persecuted soul pants after the Lord my God. Debarred from public worship, David was heartsick. Ease he did not seek, honor he did not covet. But the enjoyment of communion with God was an urgent need of his soul. He viewed it not merely as the sweetest of all luxuries, but as an absolute necessity, like water to a stag, like the parched traveler in the wilderness, whose skin bottle is empty, and who finds the wells dry. He must drink or die. He must have his God or faint. His soul, his very self, his deepest life, was insatiable for a sense of the divine presence. As the heart brays, so his soul prays. Give him his God, he is as content as a poor deer, which at length slakes its thirst, and is perfectly happy. But deny him his Lord, and his heart heaves, his bosom palpitates, his whole frame is convulsed like one who grasps for breath, or pants with long running. Dear reader, dost thou know what this is, by personally having felt the same? It is a sweet bitterness. The next best thing is to living in the light of the Lord's love, is to be unhappy till we have it, and to pant hourly after it. Hourly, did I say? Thirst is a perpetual appetite, and not to be forgotten, and even thus continually is the heart's longing after God. When it is as natural for us to long for God as for an animal to thirst, it is well with our souls, however painful our feelings. We may learn from this verse that the eagerness of our desires may be pleaded with God, and the more so because there are special promises for the importunate and fervent. Verse 2. My soul, all my nature, my innermost self, thirsteth, which is more than hungering. Hunger you can palliate, but thirst is awful, insatiable, clamorous, deadly. Oh, to have the most intense craving after the highest good. This is no questionable mark of grace. For God, not merely for the temple and the ordinances, but for fellowship with God himself. None but spiritual man can sympathize with this thirst. For the living God, because he lives and gives to men the living water, therefore we, with greater eagerness, desire him. A dead God is a mere mockery. We loathe such a monstrous deity. But the ever-living God, the perennial fountain of life and light and love, is our soul's desire. What are gold, honor, pleasure, but dead idols. May we never pant for these. When shall I come and appear before God? He who loves the Lord loves also the assemblies wherein his name is adored. Vain are all pretenses to religion, where the outward means of grace have no attraction. David was never so much at home as in the house of the Lord. He was not content with private worship. He did not forsake the place where saints assemble, as the manner of some is. See how pathetically he questions as to the prospect of him again uniting in the joyous gathering. How he repeats and reiterates his desire after his God, his Elohim, his God to be worshipped, who had entered into covenant with him. He pined even as the drooping flowers for the dew, or the moaning turtle for her mate. It were well if all our resorting to public worship were viewed as appearances before God. It would then be a sure mark of grace to delight in them. Alas, how many appear before the minister or their fellow men and think that enough? To see the face of God is a nearer translation of the Hebrew, but the two ideas may be combined. He would see his God and be seen of him. This is worth thirsting after. Verse 3. My tears have been my meat day and night. Salt meats, but healthful to his soul. When a man comes to tears, constant tears, plenteous tears, tears that fill his cup and trencher, he is in earnest indeed. As the big tears stand in the stag's eyes in her distress, so did the salt drops glitter in the eyes of David. His appetite was gone. His tears not only seasoned his meat, but became his only meat. He had no mind for other diet. Perhaps it was well for him that the heart could open the safety valves. There is a dry grief far more terrible than showery sorrows. His tears, since they were shed because God was blasphemed, were honorable dew, drops of holy water, such as Jehovah put it into his bottle. While they continually say unto me, Where is thy God? Cruel taunts come naturally from cowards' minds. Surely they might have left the mourner alone. He could weep no more than he did. It was a supererogation of malice to pump more tears from a heart which already overflowed. Note how incessant was their jeer, and how artfully they framed it. It cut the good man to the bone to have the faithfulness of his God impugned. They had better have thrust needles into his eyes than have darted insinuations against his God. Shimei may here be alluded to, who after his fashion mocked David as he fled from Absalom. He roundly asserted that David was a bloody man, and that God was punishing him for supplanting Saul and his house. His wish was father to his thought. The wicked know that our worst misfortune would be to lose God's favor. Hence their diabolical malice leads them to declare that such is the case. Glory be to God. They lie in their throats, for our God is in the heavens, and in the furnace too, succoring his people. Yes, indeed. Oh, my soul, why are you cast down? I shall yet hope in God. Trust you enjoyed the meditation. Michael here declaring yet again, Jesus is Lord. Until next time, be blessed.